All right, everybody. This is Coach Talk Q&A number 17. Anyway, this is my third take on this. Yesterday we had technical difficulties, so that wouldn't work. For some reason, Facebook wasn't working. And then last night I did a great version. I was really happy with it. And then I listened to it, and the wind was whipping so badly, I did it outside, that I couldn't even hear myself. So anyway, take 3. Hopefully I know what I'm talking about by the third take. 3 questions today as usual. What is Bedrock? So many people who have heard me teach coaching skills or coaches, they've heard me talk about get to the bedrock. So we're going to talk about what is Bedrock. And it's not the town where the Flintstones live. No. All right. How do you handle clients who talk too much or tell too many stories? That's another good question. How do you start with a client? Because you know what? There's values and goals and assessments and wheel of life and vision and strengths and weaknesses and life purpose and 1,000 other things that you can do with any client or every client. Oh my gosh, what do you do? Where do you start? Great question. All right, we're going to start this first question, which is for E. We're keeping it mostly confidential, but this one's for you. Okay, what is coaching Bedrock? Bedrock for me in my coaching is, let's get it down to actually what is it we're talking about, and it's about telling the truth. It's about creating agreement as to what we're talking about. It's about defining your terms. It's about focusing on that which we agreed we would work on. So what can happen in a coaching session is someone says, well, I don't know, imagine that they want to be in better shape, and you're helping them get really clear about why it's important and everything else, and they're starting to get energetic, and then you hear them, take a breath like this, and you go, oh, what's that breath? And they go, oh, I was kind of bummed because I used to work out with my father, and he can't work out anymore. And then off the kite goes is, wow, so let's really have you feel the pain of not being able to work out with your father. Okay, there's a great example of we've left Bedrock. We're now floating off into this, and then what happens is it usually doesn't end there. It goes from there, and then it goes to someplace else. And the clients end up just wandering. The clients do too, but the coaches end up wandering all over the place. Okay? And that doesn't work. Another example, it actually just, it was handed to me this morning, a better example than the other one I've been using in the first 2 cuts of this video. Someone on the Uncompromised Coaches Gym call that we did earlier today gave us an example of a client she worked with this person for a year, and there was the coach missed a call, sort of a last minute, couldn't coach at that time, something happened, and the client really gave this coach hell, and they talked about it. They thought the coach thought she had cleaned it all up, but in the next session stuff started to hit the fan again. And what I expressed to this coach is, you can't go, because she talked about how she ended up doing some more coaching after that and made a request that the coach does this or the client does this or does that to help develop some other part of her life. And I said, no. You don't have that rapport anymore. That is gone. You got nothing right now. The bedrock you're going for is, we're actually talking about something here. What we're talking about is our relationship. What needs to be said or done to get back to that baseline so that we can move forward. What's going on with you that after a year's worth of work together and this one little miss, you're gone. You can't coach with me anymore and all these other things. And so this coach got now in that moment, oh, right, the bedrock is the agreement, the understanding that this is the conversation. Where else in your life does somebody make a single mistake and it turned into chaos and hell, and you don't give it up for a week or 2 or 3 at a time? All right, so that's the bigger issue here, is how do you address that? All right, and that's your bedrock. You've got to coach bedrock. You've got to deal with the truth. What is actually going on? Right? Whether it's in the energy, the vibe of what's happening in a session, or it's in the words of what's going on. If it's in the experience, if it's in the coaching, you got to address it. Okay, cool. And by the way, I'm not done yet. If you don't coach bedrock, you are from bedrock. It's going to be a mess. So that's your starting place, coach. Next question: how do you handle clients who talk too much? Okay. So first we have to recognize that some people really need to talk, and talk a lot, right? And that's how they think. They think out loud. They actually need someone to hear them, to receive their words, even if they're in a massive abundance, even if it's inarticulate and they're all over the place. They need that. Okay? All right. Second thing is some people are storytellers and they get their point across through metaphor or through telling a story, and you've got a coach, you'll probably listen to that as well. And that's cool too. However, we're going to take those things aside and say, what do you actually do when, or how do you handle when a client does talk too much or does tell too many stories? What do you do? All right. So what you do is, well, one is you intrude, you interrupt. You got to get in there. How do you do that? We'll talk about that in a second. If you don't have a good enough reason to interrupt, like a very clear agenda, meaning a clear agenda like, hey, I want to lose 20 pounds and I want to work on a workout plan, Ron, to help me lose those 20 pounds. Great, and we're going to focus on that. If you don't have that sort of a tight focus, you will wander all over the place. And there's no reason to intrude. If somebody's passionately talking, you're just going to let them go. Why not? But if you've got to get someplace, think about if you're in a car. If there's no place to go, you don't care if it's left, right, left again, who cares? We're just driving around. But people are paying you to go someplace, right? You don't want the cabbie taking you all over the neighborhood and just wandering around. No, you want him to get you there safely, but now. Likewise, if you've got a very clear agenda, if I'm just looking at my question again to make sure I get it. If your client wants something bigger, right? There's the agenda for the call. There's something bigger they came to the coaching for. Then yeah, there's your reason why to get in there and intrude and stop the storytelling, stop the excuses, stop the alibi, stop the kind of sort of the cloud of words that keeps you, coach, from accessing the tender point which exposes that which they need to work on. Okay, so how do you do that? I mean, there's 1,000 ways you can do it. I might, just hold on 1 second. Wait, before you go on, just get in there, or you might just raise your hand and go, hold on. You know what you said there was really interesting, and I'm wondering, and you just tie it all back in. Not a big deal. Now, the thing hopefully you can recognize that I'm doing is I'm not making this person wrong or make them sound like you're an idiot. You got to take what they're doing and sort of like a judo move. Judo is really about using someone else's weight, and they push at you, and then you can move them. They've got a lot of momentum talking. You take that momentum and then you direct it in the direction that you see they need to go. Okay. All right. So clients who talk too much and tell stories. Oh, and so what you need to do, coach, in order to be the kind of guy or gal that actually can intrude, can interrupt. Well, yeah, you've got to be skilled enough to get a clear agenda and all that other jazz. But you've got to maybe be stronger. You've got to be courageous. You've got to see what's at stake. You've got to be farsighted. You've got to be bold. I'm not sure what qualities it is that'll be appropriate for you so that you will do what it takes to intrude. But there's a couple quick thoughts. Okay. Last question. How do you start with a client? Because there's values and assessments and wheel of life and life purpose and personal standards and strengths and weaknesses and goals and vision and 1,000 other things. So much to do with your clients. Well, let's start. When you first begin working with a client, you're going to start with a discovery, an initial session, an intake session. And in that session, you're going to get really clear about how you're going to best work together. In that session, you're going to get to know them, their goals, what they're up to, sort of in a general sense. And also you're going to get, you'll have your own preferences as to a couple of the tools you might use. It might be values. It might be personal standards. It might be some sort of visualization that helps your client get clear about the best part of themselves. But there's a couple places where coaches shoot themselves in the foot. One of them is them thinking that they need to have done 14 assessments and get the values and get all these things up front. The other place they shoot themselves in the foot is thinking they need to get all that stuff anyway, because you just don't. There's only so much information you really need about the person, because once you get going, you're dealing with who's there right now and not what they got on their Myers-Briggs or their DISC or their Hogan assessment or what their Strengths Finder said about them. At some point, you know them, you get them, and then you just have to go in and do the coaching. And that also should address this, Takesha, this is your question. You were asking about what to do when you've got all these different things. Well, in your first session, you're going to get the clear agenda. So now that we know, I'm going to do my little Parthenon thing here. So the roof of the Parthenon here, what the client actually came to the coaching for is the bigger picture is really How do they want to experience their lives? Who do they really want to be? Right? The pillars that hold it up are the goals. The goals, and I would talk about personal standards as well, but we're not going to go there right now. But the goals might be sort of my stereotypical response to this is, get a closer relationship with God, make $1 million, and find the husband or wife or whatever. Those are the main goals that hold up this roof that I want to work towards. And these are the things I want from the coaching. Now, the specific agenda of the call, what do you want to work on, had better tie all that stuff together. Right? That makes sense. But if every session you're doing more values and the goals, and then I've got to get the wheel of life, and I've got to make sure you can just feel the frenetic energy. There's so much to gather. No way. Hey, client, what do you want to work on today? And they're going to tell you, hey, listen, I want to work on, making that $1 million. Okay, great. Great, let's talk about that. And you're going to go right into that. Okay? That's where you're going to put your focus, not on one more tool, one more assessment, one more asset of some kind. Your greatest asset is you being present with yourself, you being present with that client, and you being present with what's going on in this moment. All right? All right, everybody. I'll look forward to hearing comments and thoughts below. Talk to y'all next time. Peace. If you got something from this video, click like and subscribe in the center of the screen. There's a lot more videos and interviews on my channel. If you'd like to learn more about coaching Uncompromised, hit the icon on the left. If you'd like to see some more videos on living uncompromised, tap the icon on the right. If you have any questions, comments, or if you want me to cover any other topic, just write me below.